Hello, my name is Lord Bakington, and today I have an amazing recipe for you. We are going to be making the best lemon cake you have ever tasted. Now, the problem with lemon cakes is that usually when you make a lemon cake, you only use about a lemon for the entire thing, including the icing and anything else you might want to use for it. But if you were to eat it and think, yeah, this is nice, it has a nice lemon flavor, but it really doesn't say lemon. So, I'm going to be using double the lemon. Some people think it's a bit extreme, but you know what? I think it's pretty great. So, let's get started. I've got my stand mixer and all of my ingredients ready as per usual. I've got my oven preheated, and I highly suggest that if you're going to bake something, I would highly suggest that you would get everything together beforehand. So, I've got 16 ounces of flour. I have a 50-50 mixture of cake flour and all-purpose flour, and I'll explain why in a minute. This is a super simple recipe. It's just 16, 12, 8. That's the base, and then you can add whatever you want to it. So 16 ounces of a 50-50 cake flour plain flour mix, 12 ounces of regular white sugar, 8 ounces of room temperature soft butter. If your room is cold and your butter is not soft because it's at room temperature but your room is cold, I would recommend putting it in the microwave for like 10 seconds and letting it get soft because it's much easier to beat it this way. I've got 4 eggs. Don't drop them. In here, I've got half a teaspoon of salt and half a tablespoon, that's about 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Important that it's powder, and I'll tell you why in a minute. So, this recipe will make you a very standard white cake if you were just to add some vanilla, beat it all together, and boom, you got a white cake. But we're going to add double the lemon flavor, and that's going to give it its taste. So peel your butter, see how soft it is, and just kind of drop it in there. Let me get my trash can ready. Boom. Wash my hands because I took some trash. It's always important to have clean hands when you're doing this. Butter number 2 goes in. Let me just strip it. Plop it right in there with its friend. Scrape out the little bits because we want all the butter that we bought. And add in our 12 ounces of sugar. Put this plate to one side. And we're going to do the simple creaming method. Normally, with a cake like this, you would cream it. This is what we're doing. It's called the creaming method. We're going to take our butter and sugar, cream it together, add in our eggs one at a time, and I'll tell you what to avoid when we get to that step. And then you just kind of add in your dry ingredients afterwards. So let's get started. You don't have to worry about starting on a low speed for the butter and the sugar, because usually when this happens, there's everything kind of heavy, whereas if you're putting flour in, you'd really have to start on a low speed so the flour doesn't just poof everywhere. A few minutes is all it takes to get really creamy butter-sugar mix. And while I'm going to do that, I'm going to look at the chat. Sansi loves lemon cakes? I hope so. Who doesn't love lemon cakes? Hi, Meatberry. Oh my gosh, chat, say hi to Meatberry. She's my sister, so too well. And yes, we're going to cream this butter. Now, back to the butter. We're going to keep beating this until you get creamy, light, fluffy mix. Right now, if you look at it, right now I can't show you. I'll show you in a minute. It's kind of grainy, and you can really tell when it goes from grainy to fluffy because things start coming together a little bit better. It's also important to know from time to time to stop, take your pig spatula, and just scrape everything down. We do this periodically so that everything gets beaten in because these electric mixers, although efficient, are not the best at catching everything. So it's always good to have a human intervention. Alright, let's keep going. Now, I talked a little bit about why we have to add in the flour and the eggs in a specific way. The reason being, you have an emulsion of, we're going to be having an emulsion of egg and butter. And eventually, after we add a certain amount of egg, the butter will stop taking the water in the egg, you kind of reject it and curdle. It doesn't really mean curdle, but it's going to start clumping up rather than being smooth and creamy. And to facilitate the smooth and creamy, we're going to be adding in about a tablespoon of flour with each egg, just to help it hold itself together a little better and not get all grainy. Look back at the butter, it's looking beautiful. I'm going to turn it off, lift out the beater, and here I'll show you what I mean. It went from kind of lumpy to really quite smooth, as you can see. A few minutes is all it takes, you don't really need to do too long. This goes back in here, oops, wrong way, there we go. Wipe off the excess because we worked hard for all of this, so I want to make sure that I don't waste any. Now, I'm going to add in an egg. Plop it in. Check for any shell, and thankfully I didn't. It's always important to have whatever you're mixing at room temperature, unless, I handled an egg, so I'm going to wash my hands. Unless the recipe calls for it, you want to have your eggs at room temperature and you want to have your butter at room temperature. There are certain recipes, like pastry dough, where you don't want your stuff at room temperature. You want it cold, because it helps beat everything together a little bit better. But for this, we want it warm or at room temperature, because cold egg plus soft butter means the butter is going to harden and not mix well. So now I'm going to add in a heaped spoonful of flour into the batter and start mixing on a low speed. We don't want egg going everywhere. And just keep going, one egg, one spoonful of flour at a time, and don't add another egg until this one is completely beaten. Alright, that's looking beautiful. Now I'm going to look back at the chat again. Hi everyone. It looks like taters. It does kind of. This is a super easy recipe once you get this ratio down of, if you can scale this down and make like a single layer cake, it would be 8 ounces of flour, 6 ounces of sugar, and 4 ounces of butter, and 2 eggs. And that would give you a nice standard single layer cake. But I'm going to be making a big old bundt cake. So I need double the cake. Double the cake for double the fun. Now, our first egg is beaten in. Look at how nice that looks. Creamy and delicious. I wouldn't advise eating it at this point though, because it's just basically straight flour and butter and sugar. Add in my second egg, kerplop. And another heaped spoonful of flour, plop. Rinse and repeat. Oh, there we go. Now, after 2 eggs, I'm going to stop and scrape down the sides of the bowl once again, because this thing is super efficient. Saves me a lot of arm strain, as you saw with my cream making stream. It saves me from having to do all that. The issue is that the beater doesn't always get down to the very bottom of the bowl, so there could be stuff at the very bottom, and you'll be left with an unpleasant surprise when you try to pour your cake batter into the pan. Turn the speed a little bit. I'm going to look back at the chat. Let's see. You made chocolate chip pecan cookies from scratch the first time on Saturday. I can crack an egg with my palm? Yeah, I can. You just like crack it single hand and kind of open it up. Now, let's look at this. It's getting creamier and creamier by the second. So I'm going to stop, scrape everything down, and give you a look at it. Look at it. It's so light and fluffy and creamy, and it goes plop gently into the bowl. This is exactly what we want. See? Beautiful. And we're not even halfway done. So, back goes the bowl, tighten it, scrape it down, knock everything into the beater, and start again. I forgot the egg. Carefully, don't want to get any shell, no shell it seems, so let's keep going. Spoonful of flour to keep everything from curdling. And let's go. The more eggs you add, the quicker you'll notice that things start to beat together because there's an emulsion going on, and the batter's more able to take on a bunch of eggs at once. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. As you can tell, it's getting all kinds of fluffy. So, final egg goes in. Everyone say goodbye to the final egg. Boom, boom. I'm gonna hot dog it here. Boom, one-handed. Let no one tell you that Lord Bakington cannot crack an egg with one hand. Scoop of flour. Let's go. Gently now, we'll start off. Wash my hands one final time. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Make sure that everything's really whipped up. And there we have it. All of our, well, the majority of our wet ingredients have been added in. I'm going to take this minute to add in the baking powder. Powder is important. And the salt to the rest of the flour and kind of just mix it all together. Beautiful. Now, remember how it looked at the beginning? Look at it now. Super creamy, super light, kind of looks like cream. Flop. It's so yummy looking. Don't eat it, it's just basically eggs and sugar and butter. Now, I put this to one side and deal with our lemons. So, take a lemon, actually take 2 lemons, cut them in half. Everyone say bye to the lemon. Cut the lemon in half. Squeeze, oh, squeezed at me. The lemon juice. Squeeze the lemon juice. Zest the zest. Try to get as much of the lemon zest off as possible. And actually, I probably should have zested the lemon first. We'll do that next time. But zest the lemon, making sure to get all of the beautiful, beautiful oils in this, because this is what's going to give the cake so much flavor. I really like using fruit at the time of the year when it's ripest. Living in an area where there's a lot of lemons grown, I'm a bit spoiled because I get really good quality fruit and vegetables at the peak of their season, and it's pretty great. But if you don't have access to these kinds of things, then by all means, use a lemon juice, use whatever you have on hand. You can flavor this cake however you want. Once you get that basic ratio down, this could be any kind of cake. It doesn't have to solely be a lemon cake. I'm going to pour in the last of this lemon juice, squeeze it really hard, get all that lemony flavor out. Everyone say bye to the lemon. Thanks for all your help. Wipe all this out because I want every last bit of that zest. Now lemon number 2. Oh, let me zest this first. Much better. I've seen someone make a blood orange version of this cake, and I thought that was real fancy looking. I'm not a big fan of blood oranges, or grapefruits for that matter, but it really is up to you. What you like best will work best in this cake. While I'm scraping all this, I want to make sure that I don't get any of this white part called the pith. The reason being, that stuff is super bitter. It doesn't have the wonderful perfumey lemon flavor. Lady Miss 80s, thank you so much for the $5. You're the best. Squeeze. Lady Miss 80s, thank you so much for the $5. You're the best. And if I've missed a donation from anyone, I'm really sorry. I can't really hear it. I can't hear it all that well. So, use the yellow part of the lemon only. Try to get as little of the white as you can because that stuff is super bitter and doesn't have any of the lemony perfume flavor that we want. So I'm going to wipe off all the zest and cut my lemon. Bye, lemon. Thanks for all your help. Squeeze it super hard. Thank you. Squeeze. There we go. Dump out the seeds, and if you get any seeds, and actually I did. I got quite a few seeds in this mix. So just take a spoon, and we're gonna go fishing for seeds, because I was a dumb butt and shouldn't have gotten the seeds in there, but I got a bunch of seeds in there, so feel free to call me a dumb butt if you want. I have to go fishing for seeds. Dumb butt. Dumb butt. Dumb butt. Dumb butt. Dumb butt. One more. Perfect. Now, I'm going to add in our delicious lemon juice and lemon zest into our batter. Also, it's important to note, if you have any open cuts, I wouldn't advise squeezing your lemons by hand, because that would really hurt. With another scoop of flour, rescue the pig spatula. Make sure to wipe everything off onto the beater so that way you don't waste any batter. And start beating again on a low speed because we added some flour. I'm going to wash my hands. Wipe off my counter. And while that's beating together, I'm going to look at the chat. Let's see. Hi everyone. Hi. Hi everyone. Lemon blood? Yes, beat it. We're beating it. Now that our flour is added in, we can turn up the speed a little bit. And if it looks like your cake is curdling, which mine might be, but it's actually pretty okay, add in another scoop of flour, and keep adding little scoops of flour until you get a nice smooth batter that isn't curdled. Woo! We're going to go into hyperspeed here, people. There. And as you can see, it is so lovely. Now, on to the next step. We're going to say goodbye to the stand mixer for now. Later, stand mixer. Because this is where we need to start folding it in by hand. The reason being, this is a 50-50 mixture of cake and plain flour. The cake flour we could totally just beat in by itself, but there's a white plain flour in here which has more gluten in it, which means that this could become a tough cake if we overbeat it. So we're going to fold the rest of it in by hand. Add in your flour. Kaploop. With your pig spatula, take it, scrape the side of the bowl and kind of just push the batter from underneath on top of the flour. Cut down the middle, out of the way. Cut down the middle and just keep going, cutting down the middle and flipping the batter underneath over the top. This incorporates the flour into the batter without developing that gluten too much and giving us a tough cake that will tunnel. Tunneling is something that's really important when you're making cakes because there is gluten in this, kind of like a nice chewy artisan bread, and if we were to keep developing it, we would have, because there's a chemical reaction going on with the baking powder, and it would cause air bubbles that wouldn't be able to expand because the batter is so tough, causing them to, instead of going out into little bubbles, they'd get big bubbles that would go up like this and become little tunnels and cracks in the cake that we don't want because that's not particularly appetizing, and they're going to be tough. So just a few minutes of really gentle, careful folding will yield a smooth, beautiful batter that you would be happy to serve to your family, or really whoever else you're giving this to. Kind of chop it after a while. Don't ever beat it like if we were making cream. Don't do this. Just kind of like fold it. And look, after a few minutes, not even any freaking, this is the batter you have. It's smooth, it's pale, it's fluffy, it gently drips off the spoon when you shake it a little bit, and it's delicious. Let me taste it. So lemony. Holy crap, I'm in love. Wash my hands. Put that to one side, and now we're going to deal with the receptacle, our bundt cake pan. It's no use making a delicious, beautiful batter for your delicious, beautiful cake if you can't get it out of the pan. So, I'm going to grab my cake pan, grab some spray. This kind of spray I found to work really well, and tag it. Just brings me back to my days of spray painting stuff. I mean, I was a perfect child. I didn't do anything. I didn't do any sort of that stuff. And now, bloop, bloop, bloop. Just pop your batter as evenly as you can. Bloop. Into bloop, 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 bloop. Your pan. Bloop, bloop, bloop. I should also note that my oven is warming up to a very pleasant 325 degrees. The reason we want it at a lower temperature than normal, normally you would cook this at maybe like 350 to 360, is because this is a thicker cake, it's taller, and it's going to take longer to bake. So we don't want this to burn. So we're going to cook it longer at a lower heat to ensure that it doesn't burn before the entire cake is cooked. You dig? Bloop. 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 Get the last of the batter. Make sure to scrape the bowl out really well because we've gone through so much already making this beautiful batter that I would be upset if we were just to leave it all in the pan and not get to enjoy it. Last of the batter goes in. Scrape it off with your impeccably clean fingers and smooth it out. It's really pretty. You can see all the bits of lemon zest in there. This looks so yummy. All right, beautiful. Now, one moment, please. So yum. Holy crap, that is delicious. The lemons are sweet, yet super sour. Add this beautiful brightness to the cake that would otherwise be kind of creamy and heavy. It's amazing. I love it. I would suggest using Meyer lemons. They're the best kind of lemon for this cake because they have a thinner skin with less white bitter part and a much sweeter flavor. But really any lemon you can get your hands on, I guess, is good enough. So now this is going to go into the oven for around 45 to 50 minutes or until a knife poked into the center comes out clean at 325 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'll show you what we do about halfway through the baking process to keep this thing from burning. Into the oven it goes. Whoop. I can't deal. That's so good. I just love it. So, now I'm going to look at the chat real quick before we move on to the next step. Handlebar says he doesn't like my cooking. Really? Hooking up with a badge puppy chulo. I gotta go to the shops. See you all tomorrow. Bye, Handlebar. Thank you for coming by. Bye, Apex Gamer. Let's see. No one has ever seen True Blood. Let's see. Okay, fantastic. Well, let's move on to the next step. I am going to be showing you how to adorn this cake with something so delicious. Here, I've got 2 cups of white powder. You can use whatever white powder you so choose. I am using powdered sugar, but I would highly recommend powdered sugar. At the same time, you can use whatever you want. I won't judge you. And I also need a whisk and a pan. I had this pan out here for a reason. A thin bottomed aluminum pan is best because it loses its heat quicker than a heavy dark pan. So a thin white pan or a thin aluminum pan. So add in your white powder. I'm using powdered sugar, as I said before, 2 cups. And 2 tablespoons of lemon juice that I've reserved from a lemon I squeezed previously. And mix all this together. It looks like at first that it won't all come together, but powdered sugar is funny and kind of melts into whatever you're mixing it into. I don't know how any other white powders would work because I've only ever used powdered sugar that anyone can prove. So if yours reacts differently, add in some more liquid. And it looks like I'm going to. So I'll need just a little bit more liquid. Add in a little bit more, and just keep mixing until you have a super duper thick paste. I'm not talking any kind of run at all, like it's literally just like paste in the bowl, in the pan, and you'll see why in a minute. Just keep adding little bits of powdered sugar until you get to the right consistency. However, if yours is too runny, add in around a tablespoon of powdered sugar at a time until you get to the right consistency. This is not the right consistency. I'm going to need just a drop more water, and sometimes it really is just a teaspoon of water difference between a perfect batter and too runny or too hard. Do 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 do. Just beat it all together really well until you get something that sort of resembles a paste, a thickish paste. Making like white goop, and I'm making white goop, and it's just crazy. Remember, hold the whisk like this and just kind of beat it, and eventually you'll get your white goop. Oh. And sometimes a little bit of lubrication helps with the water. Like the water is good for lubrication to just make everything come together better. It really helps you beat it all together better. And in no time at all, you've got your white goop. As you can see, it's kind of goopy and flows super slowly on your whisk. The reason being, powdered sugar, if you're using powdered sugar, but I don't know any other white powder you would use, has cornstarch in it. And if you've ever played in a pit when you were little that had just nothing but white goop in it, because it was cornstarch and water mixed together like at preschool, you'd know that cornstarch has that weird property of like being firm and like solid, and then all of a sudden turning into a liquid. Exactly, just like that. Now, this is going to go onto the stove on a very, very, very low heat, and you'll see why in a minute. Wash my hands. and put everything away. Wipe my forehead a little bit. Fix my hair. Wash my hands again because I touched my hair. Wipe the counter down, and let's check back on our icing. And look, it went from something semi-solid to really liquid. A lot more liquid than it was before. And this is what we want. We want to make sort of a, like, it'll be really solid, and we're going to make it into a runny icing by putting it over the fire. And then right as our cake is baked, we're going to take it off the heat, pour it over, and it's going to harden and make a really nice hard lemony icing. But that's for a later time because our cake is still in the oven. Now I'm going to look back at the chat and talk to you about any kind of baking questions you have. If you have any questions, now's the time to ask me. Let's see. Rumpy Bumpy, I'm sorry, I promised you a pineapple cake. I'll write it down on my notebook. Here, I have my stream notebook right here. My stream notebook right here, and I'll write down for the next date open. When is my next date open? Let's see. Monday, July 10th, 11th. Rumpy Bumpy's pineapple upside down cake. Ta-da! It's in the book now. You can trust that. That's a Bakington promise. What else is there? Let's see. Super lemon cake, super duper. I want to smash that leaf bowl. Okay, this leaf falls over all the time when I'm cooking here. It kind of gets in the way, but it's super pretty, so I like it. Let's see. To get muted. Play a song request wouldn't be audible. I'm jelly of his hair. Thank you. I like my hair. My hair is nice. Thank you. It's like a mop. Okay, URL Justin. You can just... Yeah, it is actually. Nice black thick hair. Thank you. Axe questions. I like your hair, Bakington. How do I get... okay, Kitty Cosmos, here's what you do. You take it, you get your shout and some club soda. Pour the club soda on the stain. And then you rub that in, then use the shout, spray it. Then you put that into your washing machine, and it'll come out. Trust me, I've had to do that before. Cake giveaway? I wish I could do a cake giveaway, but I don't think this cake would last in a package. What kind of pen is that? We need a pink Hello Kitty pen. Actually, this is a Velocity gel pen. It sounds kind of weird, but that's the name of the pen. Make some macaroni and cheese with hot Cheetos. I can make macaroni and cheese really good, actually. You guys probably don't know this, but I was a nanny for 3 boys, ranging from the ages of 5 to 9. So I've had to make a lot of mac and cheese in my time, and I couldn't let them eat the boxed crap. So I made my own with 4 different kinds of cheeses, some vegetables, chicken, and they loved it. So I will make that one day. Let me add that to the stream notes too. I dropped my pen. Can you make magic brownies? I mean, sure, if you want me to. I'll add that to the day. Where's my cake? I'm not sure. I do need to wash my hands because I did touch my hair. It's a very, very good comment, Gorgeous Gamer. Does anyone else hear eerie background noise? That's the oven. Yeah, Dixon Cider. I was a nanny, and it was the best job I have ever had. It really beats working with like people, because I am now a receptionist at an office at a college. And working with 3 little kids definitely beats working with confused adults. So, if you have any baking questions, I would love to hear them. But let me just put the request for mac and cheese into the book as well. That'll be Wednesday, July 13th. Mac and cheese, uber fancy for Kitty Cosmos. It's in the book, so that means I have to do it. But I think it's important for me to tell you why we have to use baking powder for this recipe. So, I said earlier that we need to use baking powder, and the reason being, it is a mixture of 2 ingredients, baking soda, and M60, thank you for the $5, you're the best.
New Make Fund.
Thank you for the $5, man. So, it's important that we use, I'm sorry. It is important that we use baking powder in this recipe because baking powder is a mixture of baking soda and cream of tartar. The reason we use these 2 different things is because baking powder on its own gives us that rise that we want in our cakes. Baking soda is solely just an acid. It is an acid salt. And so it needs some kind of acidic agent to kind of make it, no, some kind of basic agent. It's a basic agent. It's alkaline, and we need some kind of acid to work on it. Usually in like old-fashioned red velvet cakes, the leavening agents used to make a cake get puffy would be baking soda and vinegar. Kind of like how we made baking soda and vinegar volcanoes as children. They use that to make cakes. Baking powder is a mixture of baking soda and cream of tartar. These 2 are dry, and they don't react to each other when they're dry, which is why we add them into a wet batter to get that puff. So it's important that we use baking powder because when we added baking soda straight into our batter, the lemon juice would cause it to react. All the puff would be lost before we were able to put it into the pan, and it would be left with a cake that's super flat and dense. So baking powder helps to give us a second rise while it's in the oven instead of just wasting all the rise on the first mixing in with the lemon juice. There we go. Science, people. Back to the chat. Gorgeous gamer, I live in America. Land of the free, home of the brave. Yes, baking soda. I do gotta bake by the book. I should not open a bakery and call it Lord Bakington's Castle because bakeries are impossible to run. I mean, like, you have to get up at 3 in the morning to bake everything before people come in at 7. I ain't got time for that. I like my sleep. But I would love to if it wasn't for that. Pink wallpaper and lazy town pictures and a bar with fizzy drinks. Okay, I'm really starting to want to make this now. Pink cupcakes with pink stuff. Okay, so back home, there was a cupcake shop. It wasn't a bakery, it was just a cupcake shop called Who Diddly Cupcakes. And the cupcake shop was totally princess themed. There was a castle mural on one wall, and it was pink everything. There was candy tables, and I really wanted to work there. And your title, you weren't like an employee, you were called a cupcake fairy. And I thought that was ridiculous, but okay. And you had to throw parties for children there, and it was a cupcake shop, and I really wanted to work there, but it closed down. There's not really a whole big market for cupcakes only. It's also important to note that your icing will get dry after a while, so kind of add a little touch of water whenever you need to. What we're looking for is something super thick, but not too thick that it won't melt. Ta-da! Perfect. Back to the chat. That's why you hire Mexicans? No offense. I'm Mexican. I'm not Mexican that I'm offended. Can you make alcoholic drinks? Gotta love watching those videos. I can. I do know how to, but I'm not allowed to. Cupcakes only? Ew. Yeah. Okay, the difference between macarons and macaroons. Macarons, with one O, are the French cookies that that are really delicate looking and pretty. Macaroons, with two O's, are those coconut things that look kind of like they've been squeezed out of a bag and they're kind of like chewy and coconutty and really sweet. Macarons are really sweet too, but they're light and crispy and meringue and so difficult to make, even for me. He's so sweet. I thought you were Caucasian. No, I'm Mexican. I'm as Mexican as Chipotle, which is not Mexican at all, pretty real, because I'm not super Mexican either. I mean, I'm American first, Mexican second, but yes, that is my family heritage, and yeah. And let's see what else the chat's saying. I'm so sweet. I'm blushing. I don't want to look at the chat right now because that's kind of embarrassing. Let me check the cake. Where's the hand grabby thing? Let's see how our cake is looking. It's looking just the faintest bit cooked, which means you have about half the time left. You can tell that I'm still blushing, I'm sorry. Your cake will start to get like a skin on top of it, and that's how you kind of know that your cake is starting to get cooked. When it starts to brown, we want to put some tin foil over the top of it to keep our cake top from browning too much. I need to get a drink. I'll be right back. I'm drinking some lemon green tea to go with our lemon themed day. So it is important to note why we need to use, my hair is looking a mess, why we need to use baking powder versus baking soda. I touch my hands to my hair. Another little interesting factoid about most fruit is that when you get it in the supermarkets, especially things like apples and pears and peaches and stuff like that, the reason that they're so fresh and you can get them most of the time is usually because they pick them before they're ripe, put them in these crates, leave them in these cellars that are almost frozen to chill and just be merry, and then when it's time to give you the lemons, like maybe the season's over, you got the freshest lemons then, afterwards they'll give you the ones that they froze and kept ahead of time. So it really is important to use your fruit when you get it and when it's in season, because that's when you can more or less ensure that you got the best fruit. I'm spoiled because I live in a place where they grow stuff. Right out that way, down the street, there was a place selling raspberries, cherries, and all kinds of other stuff like onions. So I think I'm going to go there and get some more stuff eventually. Have a drink. Let's look back at chat. Hopefully I'm not super embarrassed this time. Let's see. Jesus cuts my grass. Jesus cuts your grass every week, 2 weeks, and does a fantastic job. Yeah. Have you ever made rainbow cookies? I heard they're easy. I've never made rainbow cookies. However, in my book, I think it's in a week or so, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a super trippy psychedelic rainbow marble cake. It's going to be amazing. It looks all crazy and bubbly on the inside with all kinds of rainbowy colors. No, we're going to take it out when it's golden brown. We're going to take it out when we can stick a knife into it. You take the knife and just kind of stab it in. And if it comes out clean without any cake batter on it, then you know it's cooked. You must have the same haircut as me? Do you flat iron your hair? No. I just shower and wash it, and then I let it dry, and there it is. I don't do anything to it. My hair is a little too straight? No, it's about the only thing. Would you, Sloppertons, I mean, how much are we talking? Like, am I getting paid for this? Like, something, I have to get something out of it too. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know anyone who plays RuneScape. Ugh, the burn's going down. How do you cook? Okay, so those things are pretty difficult to cook. One, because they have this like outer membrane on them that like gets tough when you cook it. So what you have to do is take them. You have to take a short bladed knife. I think I have one. I don't think I do actually. Hold on. This is the shortest knife I have. You grab it along with the tip of the blade, take them and slit them down the top, kind of like a cooking human ones too. Peel off that outer membrane and then cook that. You want to like soak them in some milk to get rid of that flavor. Chop them up into little pieces, saute them. A little bit of lemon, a little bit of olive oil. Great. Soffertins, you wouldn't have to pay me. Sweet Kitchen, thank you so much. I really like it. It's built recently, and I think it's great. Here's one thing I will mention. You're going to need one of these or some place to put your cake after it's out of the pan. This is a wire cake resting pan. It's a cake cooling rack. So I'm going to take our cake, we're going to leave it in its pan for about 10 minutes after we take it out of the oven, flip it over, and there it goes onto the pan. And we're going to let it sit on there until it's cool. What's the craziest thing that you've cooked? Let's see. Craziest thing. This takes me back to my days in school. Let's see. I don't know. I made a lemon cake, which wasn't super crazy. I made a wedding cake, which was interesting. That was super fun. It was a 3-tiered wedding cake. That was for my culinary class. I made fondant, which was fun. I made a white bean soup. Okay, so here's my thing. I'm good at baking and I'm good at cooking certain things, but handling raw meat was never my strong suit. I got like a B+ in that class because I had to like debone a chicken, and I didn't want to do that because I'm squeamish. So I ended up just I was in a group of 3 people, me and my friends Candace and Jessica. Candace loved to taste and eat everything. So if I had to make something like, I hate ranch dressing, so if I had to make a ranch dressing from scratch, I wouldn't taste it myself to see if it had enough seasoning. I would ask Candace to do it. But the most exciting thing I have ever cooked was probably I made a beef roulade, which is basically I took meat and I cut it really thin so it was really long and thin. I put like stuffing inside of it and I rolled it up, tied it, put it in a pan. I had to like roasted potatoes and carrots and gravy and stuff and put it in the oven and let it sit and made like a roast out of it. And that was probably the most exciting thing I've ever made. You like the marble? Thank you. I like the marble too. It's good for kneading bread on. I rest my cake next to my computer so I can eat every time I die to feel better. Yeah, I do too. It's been a different color every chat. Does anyone else have that habit? My cake is safest when it's in my belly. Stingray, I highly agree with you. Cake is best kept in your stomach. I always ask people always ask me, what is a good way to store cakes after they're baked? And normally I say leave them out. If they have some kind of cream filling or cream icing, like buttercream, I would advise you to put that in the freezer if you're not going to eat it after a while. Never in the fridge because those make your cake go stale. Always outside or have a cream icing in the freezer, not the fridge, because fridge will make it go stale. The same with bread. Don't put your bread in the freezer or in the fridge. Put your bread in the freezer if you're not going to eat it. Put it in your pantry if you're going to eat it. Never in the fridge. You already ate snails? That's gross. Raw chicken smell is the worst. It really is. Yeah, fridge bad. Fridge bad. Don't go in the fridge. Reason being, it makes your cakes go stale. It makes really, because it crystallizes your gluten and makes it basically it crystallizes the starch and makes everything go stale faster. So bread and cake will naturally go stale after a while. It'll go stale a lot faster if you put it in the fridge. Let's check on our cake again. It's looking absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful. You can't see the cake? Well, that's because I don't want to take the cake out of the oven. If we take the cake out of the oven, it'll cool, and everything will kind of collapse, and it'll be hard for it to get back to temperature and puff back up again. Baking tin, turn around so we can see your cake, if you know what I mean. I mean, it's in there, so I don't really know what you want me to do. Let's see what else. Same with like sandwich bread, M60. Yeah, don't put your sandwich bread in the fridge because it will go stale faster. One day we'll have an oven cam. I am trying to get an oven cam. I should make like a donation thing for my oven cam because that's my next goal is to get a cam for like over here so I can cook like actual food. Like so when we do Kitty Cosmos's oh whoa that was on still. Don't tell my mother. When we do Kitty Cosmos's macaroni and cheese stream, you can watch me while I cook it. But right now, you guys are kind of stuck here. Let's see. I don't think you love us if you don't show oven cam. Yes, oven cam. Not going inside the oven because it's dumb. I should. That'd be a great idea for Pride Month. Look at that. Look at you coming up with all the good ideas. Is there a cam that can handle the heat of the oven? Probably. What's the blue light above your stove? This stuff? It's basically, it's magic. It endows my cake with like magic power, which is why all of my food is so good. No, in reality, it's just oven lights, and they're LED oven lights. They have that bluish tinge to them. But yeah, it's important that you can see everything that you're cooking so you can tell when it's done. I'm just going to beat the icing a little bit more because we don't want this to dry out and get a skin. Gorgeous Gamer? What'd you say? Let's see. I did not even know you cooked me. What? Did you say we can put sandwich in fridge? I mean, you can put a sandwich in the fridge, but I mean, I wouldn't advise keeping it in the. I wouldn't advise keeping your sandwich bread in the fridge for long periods of time. Your bread will taste like. Did you say we can put sandwich in fridge? What kind of car do I drive? I drive the kind that goes beep beep. Who's my favorite cooking streamer? There's this guy named Shadow something. I can't remember what. But he's cool. He's the only other person I've seen besides the other lady, but he's super cool. I would highly recommend you go check them out, but not before you check me out. What's your does Bakington go to college? I do go to college. Thank you for asking. I do. Yeah, I do. You bread and fridge. I don't know why I'm finding that so funny. Bread will taste like your bread will taste like poo in the fridge. Alright, let me check on this cake. Puffing up beautifully. We'll put sandwich in fridge. I'm sorry. Clown college? I don't go to clown college. I go to regular people college. Clowns are people too, but they're not regular people. Your icing will get dry after a while, so make sure to moderate it with a little bit of water every now and again. Make sure you keep making that white goop. I know, right? I'm studying theater mainly, but I'm also getting my degree in botany because I like science. I guess because cooking's a lot like science too, so I'm good at that. Yeah, I'm gonna study botany. I'm gonna study botany a whole bunch, get my degree in it, probably become a doctor, maybe like a plant doctor. I can get a PhD in botany or horticulture or botanical sciences, and become a streamer. I mean, let's be honest, college degrees aren't what they used to be. Why not chemistry with cooking? Because I don't want to study cooking in college. I mean, you can get like a certificate in cooking, but I mean, in reality, the last few years of cooking school is just like learning how to run a restaurant and learning like the really fancy stuff, but I don't need the fancy stuff. And I'm also not interested in running a kitchen, so I don't think I'd want to study all like 2 years of cooking. Just as well, chemistry is too difficult. And I like chemistry, but I like plants more than I like chemicals. So I wanted to study like the chemistry of plants. Beautiful, beautiful. Let me taste this thing. We gather some of our white goop that we've been beating. It's very lemony. Super yum. Super duper yum. That's super interesting. Thank you, M60. I do enjoy my plant sciences. And actually out back, I'm fortunate enough to be able to have plant boxes where I grow my own stuff. Right now I've got tomatoes, I've got zucchini, jalapenos, green onions, strawberries, and I'm going to put in some potatoes eventually and grow all those in my little backyard so I can have good food right there in my backyard. Sometimes you speak very fast, Lord. It's hard to understand. I'm sorry. If that does happen, ask me, and I will repeat what I said at a much slower pace. I'm sorry. That's just how I talk because I get excited. Don't eat your words, gorgeous. White goop is always the best to taste. That's so good. Let's just check on that cake. Hello. It's not ready yet. He told me. So, now, what else do I have planned? I do have a little bit of sad news. So I do have a recently developed family emergency, and so Wednesday I won't be able to stream. I'm sorry. I will try to get to that recipe eventually. What was planned was I was going to make a tortellini pasta bake. I decided to take a break from baking sweet stuff and make a tortellini pasta bake because it's pizza pasta bake and I think it is delicious. I made it for the boys a bunch, the boys being the boys I nannied for. They really liked it. I really liked it. It's pizza, it's pasta, had a baby, that's it. But something's really come up and I can't stream Wednesday. So I will try to stream probably Thursday or some other day. That is the only change. I will change that on my schedule. I'll change that on Twitter and let you guys know. But really, I'm sorry, I can't. Something's come up. You need to learn to listen faster. I guess sometimes I don't have an accent. American people don't have accents. All right, now, here is our cake. It is not fully cooked, and you can tell by poking in a skewer, or a knife in this case. Look at that. It does not come out clean. It comes out full of cake batter. So, here's what we need to do. This next step involves us turning the oven from 325 beep to 360. 360. Now, to keep the cake from burning, I'm going to cover it with some foil, and this just stops the top of the cake from getting too dark. This is perfectly edible still, though. Mmm. Yum, yum, yum. Everyone has accents. No, I don't have an accent. It's all you people who have accents. I'm perfect, of course. Now this is going to go back into the oven for the remainder of the cooking time. Perfect. So if you have a long baking cake, like if you're going to make say a pound cake takes around an hour to bake. So if you're going to make a pound cake or a cake that takes a while to bake, I would highly recommend covering it with tin foil about halfway through the baking process just to keep everything from burning. Because there's no real point in making a delicious, beautiful cake if you're going to let the top of it burn before it's finished. Just suck. Yeah, the knife, it was pretty tasty, I have to admit. Let's see. That does not make you Texan, just me. Kitty still have a toucan, even though I fixed it. My toucan speak Hawaiian, for example. Really? I don't have a toucan. I am without toucan. Let me just put some water in this so that way when I'm done, cleanup will be a little bit easier. So, if you can't tell, you really can't tell from this angle, but this house does have a lot of lemons in it, and here I'll show you. I've got these. Some lemon potpourri. And if you look up here, the kitchen dining little sitting breakfast nook over there has a lemon themed tablecloth from Williams Sonoma. So yeah, there's lots of lemons in this house. What's the... Thanks for the house score, Knox. Let's see. Yeah, there's lots of lemons in this house, and I mean, it's my mother who likes lemons here. I like lemons too. It's great. Citrus fruit is actually super good for you, more than just vitamin C. And actually, vitamin C can be gotten a lot more ways than just through lemons and oranges. You can get vitamin C through things like peppers, or you can get them through, I was going to say fruit. You can get them through leafy green vegetables. So, now then, let me read the chat. If you have any questions for me, I got cake all over my phone. That's Kyle, thank you. Lemon cake is a really delicious cake. This batter, once you make this batter, you can flavor it however you want. In fact, I have been able to make a chocolate cake out of this by adding 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder in with the dry ingredients and a tablespoon, and instead of 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, or the juice of 2 lemons, I would use milk, just to give it a little bit more liquid to it, because the chocolate powder is dry and kind of dries the batter out, so you want to add some liquid to combat that. Okay, Kitty Cosmos, good night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite. Slappertons, stop having strokes. If you have to have a stroke, call the police or the ambulance, or, I don't know, Spider-Man. There is nothing to do with the toucan image, but you still have one. What toucan? Toucan? Here, I'll show you. See how this kind of looks shiny and liquid, and then when you beat it, turns like solid? I'll show you why. The 2 ingredients in, let's see, where is it? Here we go. The two ingredients in powdered sugar are, of course, sugar, to give it that, oh, wrong one. Ah! False alarm, people, it was just the oven. The 2 ingredients are cornstarch to keep it from clumping and give it this powdery consistency, just like powdered sugar has. I'm going to add some cornstarch in here. Cornstarch and sugar blended together, and look, this is what happens when you mix them together. You get this weird semi-solid gloop, really. See how runny this is at first? And then as soon as we add even just the smallest bit more, it can quickly go from perfect, I can't even mix it, holy crap. It goes from a runny gloop to, look, it's like liquid, and then hardens, and then becomes liquid again. It bites you when you stir it. This is what happens slightly less in our cornstarch, sugar, powdered sugar, but it gets gloppy and gloopy and just gets all over your hands like stuff. And when you pull it, look, I can scrape it off, I can roll it off with my fingers, and then as soon as I let it rest, it turns into liquid. Rub it together in your hands, it becomes little balls, and then all of a sudden it drips like glue, but then when you rub it together in your hands, it becomes little, Look, see, look, I can knead it around, in my hands. And then look. There. This is the kind of reaction that happens a little bit less, but still pretty violently in our I haven't had this much white stuff on my hands in God knows how long. And look, it's like liquid. You can see it flows out like a liquid, but then I can grab it and slap it down. And just, this is what's going to give the cake that beautiful white icing that we want, that everyone loves. Everyone loves a good white icing, don't we? I mean, like there's really nothing better than white icing. I can knead this around in my hands and then slap, and it's liquid again. All right, now I need to clean up my surface because this is a little bit of a messy exercise. Knead it in one hand to keep it really occupied. It's getting everywhere. Help, I have too much white stuff. It's all over me. You know by now what causes that? That's a good question. It's the chemical structure of the starches, and my leads from my desk just got here. That's great. Slap. Knead it again. Look, Max, look at this. Roll it in your hands. Just really, really work it. It becomes a ball, and then slap, and it's liquid. Now, guess where this is going? Ready, everyone? It's time for the Space Jam. I need to wash my hands. I made a mess. Now, it might look like I have a totally messy counter with no way to clean it. And you would be probably right thinking that, but you also could be wrong. You're right, Max. There's never too much white stuff. I mean, from experience, I've known that. Where did that thing go? I've got this dirty, dirty counter, but look at this. I've got a counter scraper, and you really just scrape all the dried white stuff off the counter. It's great for scraping stuff like this. So cringe, Average Joe. Don't report me to the cringe police. Oh my God, don't report me there. Whatever will I do? And in a few seconds, you've got a perfectly clean counter again. Now let's check on that cake. Yes, Max, dried white stuff. That's what I said. Because that's what it was. Oh, this is looking beautiful, not burnt. Let's test it. Just the faintest bit too sticky. As you can see, it's not clean, but the cake is much thicker this time. It's not like it's like semi-set. It's not like It's still super delicious. It's not raw completely. It's still so good though. I'll get every little bit off of it. Delicious. You need to clean your blueberries. I would suggest, at this point, considering our cake is still so pale on the top, we can afford to keep it in there without the tin foil. Into the oven it goes. Dark night, same. A lot. So, take your tin foil, start rolling it up. And I store tin foil like this, or I fold it up again one more time, in case I need to cover things again. I can just pull this out because it's already been used, it's already rolled. I can just unroll it and know it's at around the same size. Or if you want to repurpose your old tin foil, fold it from the center into a cone, like crimp it together and wear it on your head to keep the government from programming your mind. So this is a book where I keep all of my recipes I've written down, and I want to know what you think we should make for our next stream on the roster, which is the streams that I filled up are from now until when I think it's the 13th. Yeah, Wednesday the 13th. So I need one for Friday the 15th. I think it's what it is. So if you have any desires for me to make you something, for me to show something, if you want to see something made, let me know now. Hello, the foreskin. Cinnamon buns? Definitely. Oh my gosh, hi Totaled. How's it going? Cinnamon buns, definitely. They're super easy. They're actually really fun. And one really cool thing about it is cinnamon buns, the dough you make for them, can be used to make a bunch of different things besides just cinnamon buns. You can use it to make, like, donuts, actually, for one. You can use it to make, like, cinnamon bread. You can use it for a bunch of different things. So I can show you that, and that will be a great base bread. Excuse me. I need to go lie down. No, I don't. Let's read some more chat. Sausage rolls, definitely. That sounds like super fun. I like the idea of like a short pastry wrapped around a sausage. Really just like when it's so good. So, definitely. Let's see what else. The foreskin, we're not going to be talking about. Oh no. We're not going to talk about. We're not going to talk about Mexicans like that. Please don't use that word. I don't appreciate it personally. We're not going to make bull testicles, please, because cooked them once, won't cook them again, because I'm fundamentally against it. Pigs in a blanket, definitely, and definitely donuts then, I guess too. One day we could just do a day on fried dough, because that's basically an entire day on its own. Human arms. I can cook frog's legs, but not human's arms yet, because that stuff takes a little bit of time, and it's really difficult to like get human arms in this part of town. I can go to the neighboring towns to get some, but M60 donut burgers. Actually, M60. This can be super fun. On 4th of July, I'm going to be doing a Super Duper American Cookout Day. We're going to be making apple pie. We're going to be making hamburgers. We're going to be making all kinds of American staples. I guess that means you're going to have to make deep fried Twinkies. I really don't want to, but I guess you have to because it's American. And any other thing that's American, I will be making to celebrate being an American. So if you want donut burgers, I guess that's the day to pick it. You're going to be, that's your birthday? Oh my gosh, we're going to have a cookout for your birthday to celebrate you and your American heritage. I'm proud to be American, where at least I know I have guns. Your blueberries are so good. They are very good. Please don't use trigger words. Yeah, please don't trigger me. I trigger easily. That's why I'm on Tumblr. Don't make human taste like pork? Definitely. Boss level dessert baklava. Baklava is actually not super hard. I've made it before. Maple bacon marshmallows for Canada Day. That actually sounds super yum. I've made like mint marshmallows, and I've made chocolate marshmallows, and I've made mint chocolate marshmallows. But never maple bacon. What is it? Maple bacon marshmallows. Cook some toucans. Toucan is actually a hard meat to get, and I'm not good at handling meat. I mean, I'm good at handling like turkey, but never toucan. Hello, cake. Let's see how you're doing here. Tumblr is where you get most of your recipes. The Q mark. Well, then you should totally follow me on Tumblr because I post all of my recipes on there. Look at that. The cake is clean. We're ready. Okay, so there's a little. Google, I did not tell you to start. Bad Google. I can't poach toucans. Okay, my poaching days are behind me. Okay? Ever since you guys got the stupid Interpol to swap me on my birthday, poaching is behind me. I've given it up. Can you teach us how to microwave top ramen noodles? No, the Hans Fonz, I can't. I don't make top ramen because that stuff's nasty. Nasty AF. Have a drink. I'm going to pour myself a stiff drink. I'm actually make myself a drink real quick. Anyone else want a drink? Ta-da! Cheers for a delicious lemon cake. It's a good vintage. You want to get that aroma. Would making like masks count as creative? Like say masks that cleanse your face? Max, that is absolutely super cool, and I would definitely think that would be creative. I made bath bombs once from a Tumblr my sister and I saw. Those turned out really well, so I'd highly recommend it. M6, did you really eat top ramen? If so, I'm sad for you. You need someone to cook proper food for you, not top ramen. I feel fancy AF right now, but in reality, this stuff is just sparkling blackberry juice. Couponing sounds super fun. I've always wanted to try it, but I haven't. M60, please make proper food if you're going to eat food. Instant ramen is good. I've had instant ramen when I was like a baby, when I was like sick. Other than that, not really. Max, if you're gonna make videos, I would totally watch them. I love YouTube videos on how to make like face masks or really anything. I like watching people make stuff because I get a vicarious thrill out of it instead of having to make it myself. I'm getting so drunk off of sparkling juice. You kind of like ramen as bad as it is for you? I mean, to each his own. We all have those things we like that really aren't good for us. Alright, so now our cake is definitely cooked. Turn off the heat. Test it one more time. Obviously, it's cooked, completely cooked, and this time I can't lick off anything, and I'm sad for that. Creating a Flick cosplay for thing, and the foam ain't expanding. That's too bad. I wish I knew more about that kind of like chemistry and stuff. I would let you know. Don't turn into a sloppy drunk on stream, bud. I can do whatever. K-Sean giveaways. Thank you for caring about me, but I'll be however I want. So now this is gonna stay in its tin for about 10 minutes on our nice cooling rack. The reason we want it on a cooling rack is because it lets the air circulate underneath it. So that way it's not sitting somewhere hot, and the heat's going to keep being redistributed between the cake and the table. Now it's got air underneath it that's going to keep cooling and cooling the cake all the way through. It's important that we let the cake cool for around 10 minutes or so before we try to take it out of the pan, because we don't want this to be super duper hot when we tip it out, or else the cake will break. It needs to cool and kind of set a bit. Yeah, I mean, M60's right. I was watching an episode of Rachel Ray, and she had like Gwyneth Paltrow or someone on her stream, and she was totally wasted. So I can have a little bit of sparkling juice. You should be on the food channel. I should. I would love to be on some kind of like. I would love to have a cooking show of my own, but I'm not flamboyant enough. I'm not bubbly enough, or really good enough for any of that. If you listen closely, you can hear the cake sizzling still. That's so weird. Is that vitamin water? No, it's not. It's called sparkling ice water. Sparkling juice? Yes, sparkling juice. It has a wine fridge next to the a wine fridge next to the couch. We have basically a wine cellar in here. Snack time. We have a bunch of these little chocolate bars. Yum. You're like one of the most popular cooking streams right now. Thank you, you guys. You're so sweet. Really though, One of my big things though is I get really anxious before these kinds of things. I'm sure most people do. Maybe never mind. I'm just being dumb. I really appreciate that if you guys are watching the stream. If you like this stream, please click that follow button. I know people are following all the time out, and thank you so much for the follow. It really does mean a lot. Make sure to check out that YouTube channel down below and the Tumblr page if you want to see all these recipes that I've been making. Nom, nom, nom. Max Art, I totally feel you, especially when I'm in like theater stuff, because I'm a theater major. I get so anxious and it's like crazy. I feel confident going into it, and then as soon as I get there, I just clam up and I just freak out. Wartos, that's a bit of a tender subject, but I mean, if you guys want to hear about it, I could totally tell you. And I should get Paula Deen, because she was actually growing up, she was one of my favorite TV shows to watch. So after a few minutes, you can really tell even the rim of the pan is slightly less warm, and you can touch it without burning yourself. So I'm going to take that. Here's how you do it. You don't ever want to take it and try to flip it over on top, because that will cause the cake to fall out. It'll crack, it'll break, it'll cry. I know I did. So what I'm going to do before is, where is it? I sucked on this knife, so I'm going to put that down there. Take a knife and just kind of gently run it around the edge of the pan without scratching the pan, because we don't want bits of metal in our cake. I mean, I guess you do if you want to get rid of people, but I don't. Yeah, it's a bit heavy of a topic for the cooking show. I mean, I can do a Q&A video on my YouTube channel if you guys want to ask me any questions you want. You can totally ask me anything, I will totally tell you. Run a knife around the edge of the cake to loosen everything up. Take it, put it on top, grab the edges, and kind of like that. Whoops. Ta-da! Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And now, I'm going to leave this to cool completely. Over here, where it's not so hot. Any little bits of cake can totally be eaten. Of course, little bits are going to break off. Just the nature of this cake. So good, though. Tears are good for cooking. You don't want to just flip it around and flip it around. What? Perfection? Thank you. It is perfection. And what I've learned in school, even if it's not perfect, is eventually, no matter how good of a cook you are, you will run into problems. Eventually, it will go south, something will go wrong, and you just have to roll with it, really. There's always a way you can fix something. Most of the time, there's a way you can fix something. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. Cooking is experimenting. You have to know what you're supposed to be doing, but at the same time, you have to play with it. Be you. Don't be afraid, because no matter what you do, it's going to taste good to somebody. So, don't be afraid to cook. Wash your hands. And we can sort out our icing. Wartos, no. What I mean was rack, cake, flip it onto that. What I did was I put the rack on top of it, so the cake, when I flipped it over, wouldn't slide out before it touched the rack. If you do this, at one point you're going to be holding it sideways, and it's going to be the cake's going to be hanging on that little fluted part in the middle and kind of break in half. Whereas now that we have it on the rack, it's going to support itself, and come out easier. T-Mac, that is so true. I don't know what it is, but like old people are so calm, and grandmothers are so good at least mine, most of them are, at baking, and it's just so easy for them. So our icing has dried out just the taddest bit, so I'm going to add a touch more water, mix that in, and now we can finally sort out this icing. The LEDs look dope, thank you, Slap. That is so true. They are too old for problems to bother them. Yogs a lot, baking definitely is science, and Martha Stewart definitely has problems. She was in jail. She had her fair share of problems. That's good. So now our icing is looking beautiful. It's really thick. And I'm going to put it, onto the stove again. Because now we're ready to decorate. Put it on a low heat, and just leave it, and you'll see it goes from really thick and gloppy to thin and runny. Excuse me. I've already polished up the whole bottle. Whew. Okay, Sean, giveaways, you love the sound of my stove? Thank you. So, let's check back on our icing. It really only takes a few seconds. Just mix it every now and again. You'll see that it starts to melt. You're surprised I'm not what? And I'm not getting too crazy on 60. So about this cake. Oh, that's an awful noise. Take your cake. Ah! You didn't see that. Take your cake. Hold on one moment. If there's any burnt bits, like sometimes the coating can brown, like the stuff you spray it with can get too dark for your liking. Just kind of like scratch those little bits off. Like I said, don't get too crazy with this because eventually you will run into problems. This is a bundt cake. It has a hole in the middle. Look. There's a ring. It's a ring cake. Look. There's a hole in the middle. So just make sure it's only slightly warm. I'm going to check back on our icing, which looks perfect. As you can see, it went from something super duper thick to really runny. Now I'm going to quickly, because this stuff cools super fast, beat the gloop. Hold on. I'm being a dumb butt once again. To avoid having to clean up, scrape any crumbs off. Just for you, I'm 60. That's what I'm going to do, just for you. Put down some parchment paper or some kind of baking paper. He ate some of the, no, there was no squirrel in the oven. Put your cake on the parchment paper. Take your gloopy icing and pour it over. gently just drizzle it all over. And back again. Back again. Back, streets, back. All right. Beautiful. We don't want to put too much. And there we have it. So beautiful, so delightful, so delicious. One of my favorite things to do is to gather up all the bits that spill, kind of like squirt everywhere. So lemony. So delicious. I love it. And I need to wash my hands again. And wipe my nose, because I got some on my nose. Now let's serve it. Get a big old knife, a plate, and cut yourself a slice of delicious, ultra lemony cake. And if this wasn't beautiful enough, I'm going to sprinkle it with just the lightest dusting of powdered sugar. Ta-da! This is going to go over here. Everyone say bye to Cakey. I like to scrape up any crumbs. Oh. So good. And there we have it. Now, I'm going to enjoy the fruits of my labor and answer some of your questions. So if you have any more questions for me, let me know. I'll be right here eating my cake. Oops, you got away. The bright lemon zest really makes it. Jesus Christ. The blue KitchenAid, thank you. I got this one special ordered for me. It was a gift from my parents for Christmas. Cakey better be getting ready for shipping to all the viewers. I wish Kayshawn giveaways, I really wish. Seems unprofessional. Riverson, I'm sorry. I'm not a professional. Loaded, my favorite pastry to make is actually, I want to say it's a Danish, or really anything involving a croissant dough, really. But that mess takes hours to make. Is that here a sick natural ball cap? Thank you. Ow. So yummy. Yeah, the pink-haired girl's calling me crazy. We get into it after every now and again. We get into fights. She's calling me out right now. She's putting me on blast. Bye, DigiDrew. See you later. Thank you, Rumpy Bumpy. The end is always my favorite because it's really crispy and has all the like delicious stuff on it. Eat the cake. How to eat it for you. Rumpy Bumpy, thank you so much. It really does mean a lot to me when you guys say you like the stream. Okay, Sean, giveaways, no problem. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I wish I could share more with you. I got a whole freaking cake to give away. What I think I'm gonna do, package it up into little slices, throw them at people. I think my next stream will be either Thursday, so I can make my pasta bake that I wanted to make on Wednesday, but I couldn't. My schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but like I said, I have a really serious family emergency that just came up, and I really just can't make Wednesday this week, and I'm really sad. But I will try to make a Thursday stream to make up for it. I definitely will have a Friday stream, same time, same place, or one on Saturday, because I really need to make that pasta. Wow, I could 3 days ago. Yeah, Creeps, you missed it. I poured my white lovely frosting all over it, and it got everywhere. I just splotched it over the cake. Ready? I love this frosting. That's why I love it. Because it's so runny, and then it's really hard. Perfect for it makes a perfect drizzle on a cake. Actually, you guys, if you want, I can make the pasta right now. Although, actually, let me check. I'm not gonna. No, never mind. I'm missing pepperoni. That was so good. That was incredible. Rumpy Bumpy, I gave you a step-by-step instruction on how to make the full recipe from the ingredients and the steps. Everything. Trust me, you'll be well taken care of. Rumpy, you will. You can get the recipe from right from there, but you can get the recipe, get everything together, and then we'll cook it on my stream together. So you can feel like I'm walking you through it. Yeah, I need more. Everyone, go to that YouTube channel. I need more subs, if you know what I mean. Rumpy seems like a sub. Yum, 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 yum. Load him, yeah. Chile Verde nachos are definitely going to be on the stream someday. Being Hispanic, I know a thing or two about how to make some really good nachos and some really good chile verde. I need some water now. That was really sweet. M60, you're hungry? I'll be over in a minute. I can teach you how to make those chili verde nachos. They're really simple, actually. I mean, you can cheat, but... Wait. That's cool. Where the cake was, it still feels warm. You could eat an entire crock pot of shredded meat. I have a really good recipe for this stuff. Basically, it's like pork that's been slow cooked in like a slow cooker, basically, and then it's served with like roasted potatoes and stuff like that, and it's really yummy. I don't even like pork. We made it in school once. Make enchiladas? I can make really good enchiladas too. That is not Martha Stewart doing booty claps in the background. That is a girl calling me crazy. No, you can boil them and mash them. You can really do whatever you want with your potatoes. Mofongo, isn't that the stuff with the fried plantains all mashed together with like meat? If so, I can probably get plantains around here. There's a large population of people who... Do we get to rate a cooking stream now? I mean, if you guys want to, let's find out who's available. M60, can you find a cooking stream and raid them, please? Because I don't have my stream, I don't have the Google up. So if you could, someone find a cooking stream and raid them for me. We are going to be saying, I don't know, Bakington's Army, or Cook by the Book or something. Yeah, Cook by the Book. Go in, we'll find someone to raid, and we'll tell them they need to cook by the book. All right, everyone, go raid Crashly Twins and tell them cooking by the book. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day.